This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 1910, 6 Ways to Let Go of Mediocrity and Pursue Greatness by Redzic of redzic.com, and I'm Justin Malik. This is the podcast where I act as a personal narrator for you for free, usually from blogs, sometimes from books, in either case, always with permission from the authors. And we have a bunch of shows. Just search for Optimal Living Daily to check out the other topics we cover. But for now, let's get right to it as we optimize your life. 6 Ways to Let Go of Mediocrity and Pursue Greatness by Redzic of redzic.com. Are you mediocre? No one wants to be mediocre. No one wants to admit they're mediocre. Yet so many of us are. So we work harder, try harder. People are mediocre because they forgot or never figured out why they're here, and instead of following their bliss, they're following safety. Take an example of a business owner who is scared to branch out and instead sticks with the same limiting, mediocre business model instead. Or a talented employee who is suffocated in her work environment but stays with it because she doesn't believe she could do better. Or a manager who cuts corners to get something done instead of pushing himself for the high-level performance. Are you one of these people? Are you settling for less than your potential because you're afraid? What are you protecting yourself from? Pain? Failure? Okay, that's fair. But what about pleasure? What would your life look like if you focused on your strengths, clarified your motivations, let go of cognitive dissonance, and followed your bliss? Bliss is following excitement about life, work, relationships, you name it. Safety is avoiding pain. The former pushes us to self-actualize fully and authentically. The latter, well, it keeps us mediocre. Remember those times when seemingly out of nowhere an opportunity to transform yourself appeared and you experienced fear? That was your higher self calling you to take your life to another level, to not settle for just enough, to not be mediocre. Instead, it invited you to lean in. Take a look at these 6 ways that can help you stop being mediocre. Number 1, clarify your purpose. Why are you here? What gets you out of bed in the morning? Are you excited? How are you expressing your inner fire through your daily actions? Clarity of purpose inspires courage within us to follow our bliss and overcome fears. Number 2, take inventory. Write out a list of things you do on a regular basis, both personal and professional, including projects you're working on. What are your motivations for these activities? Be honest. Number 3, 75% rule. Now, test the inventory against the idea that to avoid mediocrity, you should be giving at least 75% of yourself to everything you do, with 100% being the goal, of course. If you're giving anything on your list less than 75% of yourself, why are you settling? Could you do better? Why or why not? Be truthful. If your answer is a lot of why nots, go back to number 1 or check number 4. Number 4, dispel cognitive dissonance. We are creatures of comfort, and at some point in our lives, we built a view of the world and personal goals that would deliver this comfort, this pleasure to us. For example, you grew up poor, so making money was important to you. Fast forward 20 years and you have made some money, but something is still missing. That's because that belief is now a trap. After all these years, that belief has become a part of your identity, and since it has always been important, it must still be important. It feels that way. But what if it no longer is? What if it morphed into something else? What if it never were, but was only a function of survival and not your true desire? Dig deeper for answers and be aware the brain can play tricks on us. Something may seem so true, but it isn't. Don't be tricked. It will rob you of greatness. Number 5, shuffle. After you've completed these 4 steps, what concrete action can you take to change your life in a way that will lead to more opportunities to give 100% and less situations where you're trapped out of guilt, habit, or fear and are giving less than you could? Does that mean quitting a job, seeking out a new opportunity, starting your business, writing that book, or seizing a new adventure? Whatever it might be, this is your opportunity to step up and transform your life in a tangible way. And number 6, accountability. None of us is perfect in giving 100% on a regular basis, or even realizing that we're not, and thus falling into mediocrity can be hard to both see and remedy alone. Therefore, I strongly encourage you to identify accountability mechanisms that would help push you to function at your 100%. These can be achieved through self-reflection, mentorship, relationships, personal and professional development, a partner, and certainly a life coach. Whether you choose one or all of these, remember that the path to greatness is only truly possible with others by your side. Doing what scares us is what makes us great. Safety never made anyone great. The question remains, are you mediocre or are you great? You just listened to the post titled 6 Ways to Let Go of Mediocrity and Pursue Greatness by Audie Redzic of audieredzic.com. That should do it for today. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow for the Friday show, where your optimal life awaits.